Welcome back, everybody. It's been a don't laugh. I've just done an intro. And then Pike's whole equipment blew up. Anyway, it's week 4. We've had a week off. My name's Corvy, and I'm joined also with Papa Pike, technical issue man. What's up, dude?
I mean, look, it's always technical issues. You said in the last intro as well that I'm not wearing my hat. Look, the hat's got to have a break, you know. But no, I'm doing really good, dude. I'm doing really good. How are you?
Man, I'm living the dream. Pretty good.
That's the way.
Felt weird not doing any like podcast stuff last week. I
Oh,
felt
well,
kind of like naked.
like you were busy. I kind of was having like my week off as well, so it sort of fitted the thing. Like I took a break off streams. That was really nice to sort of have that in between bit of love where you're like, oh, I'm working. I'm like, yeah, cool. You take all my responsibility for a little bit. I'm gonna go vibe out. But no, we're just chilling. It was a good week, honestly. So it's nice to be back though. So good.
Yeah, it must feel weird. Your first stream back was last week, right? Yesterday.
It was
Sorry.
yesterday, yeah. So it went really good, actually. I was really happy with it. Whole new format, so I won't get into it now because that's not what it's about. But no, I'm really happy with stream at the moment, even if it's one. I'm going in with the hella positive mental. Little TLDR on that though. I'm doing my YouTube series now is how to be untiltable to diamond. I don't think anyone's ever done that. So
no, I tilt every day.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, we have a decent new interviewee for us today. Straight out of Team Bliss. Benvi and Max both wanted to get him on to have a chat with us. So today I can say we have Calvin. So we might just get cracking onto that interview. What do we say?
Let's jump right in. One.
And we're back. Welcome, guys. We have Calvin with us. How we doing, Calvin?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Like I said, living the dream. Another day in the office. What can I say?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
An LCO win as well for me, so I'm very happy.
Oh mate. Yeah, it's a good series yesterday.
Yep.
A lot of good games yesterday. First Penta.
Game one was a bit of yeah. I mean, that was the first mid lane Penta.
Yeah.
No, but like for us in game one, it was a little bit like people were saying it's a bit like the Chief Mammoth incident a couple years back, which is like I actually flamed the boys for that afterwards. I was like, guys, why did we not close out the game? They were just like, no, we're just bad. We're just bad.
Best response from like one of the best teams in the region is just like, why did you close it out faster? Oh, we're just shit. Like, oh damn, exactly. All right, fair enough. We'll cop that.
It's kind of crazy how you guys have grown from the rookie team straight up to be, like Pike just said, one of the best teams, and we like look to you to just, oh yeah, that should be a win. Why aren't you winning?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think coming into LCO, right, like last split, everyone expected us 5th, 6th, and then we ended up being 2nd. That surprised everyone, and it definitely feels good. Definitely feels good because we know where we're at. Like before the split even happened, we were scrimming. I think we only lost one set of scrim. If the memory serves me right, like we only lost one set of scrim, and that was like literally the first scrim that we played together as a team, and we didn't lose a single scrim like until like the split started. And I remember I was doing like my own podcast, the Australia show, no longer is the thing, with Max. Like we were doing the power rankings, right?
Yeah.
And Max was like, "Hey, what's your team like?" And I literally told him, "I think we're title contenders," and he was just like, "You're joking."
Yeah, it seems a tiny little bit biased.
Yeah. I was just like, guys, like Max, like I really want to put us like 2nd or 3rd, but you know what? We're just gonna follow your power ranking. We just put us 5th, on the show if I remember correctly. It was like
I think I put you guys 5th. I was one of those people that doubted.
Yeah.
I think I put you 4th actually.
Yeah, it will be somewhere around there. Like
yeah, because that
would make sense.
Yeah, I saw that just you had some good players. I was just like, nah, this team's got it. Like they've got something. They're top 4 easy, and then just took it home. Arguably, you guys did technically come first. I would say technically, like we won't get into the overall branching. Like my partner will fight me tooth and nail on this, so I'm going to talk on her behalf that you did technically win. I sadly am a very big Chiefs supporter, so I'm going to say. Soz, you came 2nd. But tell us about the LCO show. I guess on top of that, I want to know, let's get to know you, Calvin. Tell us your beginnings. Where did you come from? How'd you get to here?
How did I get to here? There might be quite a long story, A few people might have heard about it. But I started off as like an amateur coach. Oh, actually, I started off wasn't even planning to get into esports. So I followed esports from 2012 all the way, back in the early days of League because TPA, so the Taiwanese team,
Yep.
won the championship,
Mhm.
and that created a massive um, just like a massive news in Southeast Asia, and I started
Yeah, hell yeah.
following. Yeah, I mean, I was a student in Australia. I was studying in Melbourne back then, and yeah, I mean that was what got me into esports. I was playing League by then, but I never really had the plan to get into esports. I was like, oh, esports is cool, and yeah, like it's something to watch, when I feel like it.
Mm.
But it was around, I think, season 5, season 6, 2015, 2016, around then. One of my friends actually started playing some like LAN tournaments, grassroots amateur tournaments. Um, Rest in peace, Open Ladder, Oceanic Open Ladder, if anyone
Oh yeah,
remembers
man.
that. But yeah, so we're playing some LAN tournaments, and they made it to finals. So my friend was like, "Hey, Calvin, do you want to, come and support us? It's actually a LAN final." And I was like, I have
Oh,
no clue what that's about. Like, zero clue what the hell is that's about. I have no clue what the amateur scene's like, what the grassroots scene's like. And I was like, hell yeah, let's just go and I'll support you. And then
good guy,
turned up,
Calvin.
yeah, I mean, it was literally just a net cafe, and I'm just standing, standing just next to the wall. I was just standing next there. I was like, yeah, I guess this is where I'm standing. I'm just watching the screen.
There was no fortress
There's
then.
just nothing. There's no fortress. There's nothing. Like absolutely nothing. It was just some random place with 10 PCs set up. Actually, it might not even be a net cafe now that I think about it. It's just like randomly, like there's like 10 PCs set up inside the building, and it's just a tournament there.
Just someone's house.
And
It's just
yeah, just
home.
someone's house. Really,
yeah, come on in,
really.
man. Just like there's beers in the
It's like-
fridge.
It's like Freak's basement, really. And then, yeah. So what happened was my friends, they were against. I think the team was Abyss Esports, like one of the amateur teams. If someone's been following Oceanic League of Legends, they'll probably remember Abyss Esports. It was
I
one
do.
of their like very like amateur teams. They were in that LAN when they were in the finals. Was 0-2 down, and I was kind of pissed. Like I was watching, I was like pissed because my friend's better than that. I was like, surely you're better than that. Like, and then I started like telling my friends like, why the hell did you guys do this and stuff? Like, what picks and stuff? Like, why? And then they were like, all right, so what do you think we should do? And then I started drafting for them that game. And then they actually end up reverse sweeping them.
I'm sorry, but I find
Holy
that so
shit.
It was so funny, right? Yeah.
You go to support your friend and you had a Joker moment. You're just like,
Yeah,
I hate
exactly,
what are you
right?
doing?
I was just like, what the hell are you doing? Like, this is just not you, man. And then after that, I ended up being like an analyst on their team. And back then, it's like, analysts or assistant coach, whatever, it's kind of like a bit of like a joke and like casual thingy because
Yeah,
there's
it's
no
like a
structure,
try
right?
hard, like what are you doing kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's like no one's really doing anything right in the amateur scene in Oceania. But yeah, so I started off being an analyst there. I just turned up to scrims here and there, and then their coach got busy like with real life stuff. So and then I eventually took over as a coach, got the team into open ladder. I think top 4 or top 6. Don't remember.
Nice.
It's been too many years ago. Eventually got picked up by an OCS team, and that's where like the whole Regicide thing happened. Went undefeated, get into OPL, and yeah, here I am.
Damn, dude.
Dude, you got into
that's
coaching
probably-
as a meme. You literally got into coaching because
Legit, man.
your friends were so
Legit.
shit. You're like, you can do better.
Oh no!
Check your shit. That's how you started
glad-
coaching. That's the best story.
I'm glad my friend moved on, so he's not going to watch this podcast. He's not going to remember that dark history.
Dude, I'll just bring it up to him. It's like, you were so bad at the game, you made me want to be a coach.
Legit, man, legit.
As like you're moving into the role as head coach on Bliss now,
Yeah.
what is like your day to day, your primary responsibilities? Like, what do you do? What's your typical day, mate?
What did it do? Oh, well, the first thing I do is actually wake the boys up or make sure the boys all wake up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just
true.
Look, a few days ago was my birthday, and like there was a meme. So like Bliss tweeted, "I'm the best babysitter in OCE," because that's all I do. Like that is literally all I do. My routine is in the morning, so an hour-ish before scrims, I would tag everyone and be like, "Hey guys, scrim is in 1 hour. If you're awake, please give me a respond."
This yeah, react with a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Dude, no,
exactly.
dude, that's giving
That
me
is-
like World War II flashbacks when I was doing amateur. It's just like, are we awake,
Oh.
guys? Hello.
Yeah. No, because the thing is, right, like OCE players, I mean it's just gamers in general, right? 2 p.m.
Yeah.
scrims. So this is when we normally scrims 2 p.m.
That's a coin flip.
It's a coin flip. It's a coin flip, legit. Like if I don't wake them up, some of them might just sleep in for an extra hour or something, and I don't want that to happen. So an hour before scrim, I would tag everyone, guys, give me a response. If you're not, then I'll actually start spamming in the management. I was like, hey Brandy, give me this guy's phone number. I need to call him. So that's the first thing I do. That is literally the first thing I do. So we get into scrims, do all the post games, talk about the game and stuff, and afterwards, I usually just watch global games, so like LCK, LPL. I'll go over VODs and stuff, and
What I do.
then nighttime I just do whatever really. So my routine is basically being a babysitter.
That's sick.
That's-
I mean, and you're not
Look,
wrong.
A good
Not
job.
wrong, no.
How is screaming going at the start of this split?
Oh, actually pretty good. We had some ups and downs actually. Oh, I
Mm.
would say that we're not as dominant as last split in terms of scrims. I think last split we ended up having like almost 80% win rate
Yeah.
against all the teams.
Could you chalk that
Um,
up to people are kind of like watching you now, though? Like they're kind of picking up on what you guys have learnt / do.
I mean, some of the teams will know what we do. Like we kind of experiment around quite a bit behind the scenes. Um, it's just to keep Raz entertained, really. Raz is one note. Yeah. So
Sure.
we had to keep him entertained, to some extent. But yeah, we do experiment around quite a bit. We're not as dominant this split, in my opinion. We also dropped a game against Mammoth. I think that was when we were slumping a little bit, to be honest.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, overall, Scrim's doing well. I
good.
think, yeah, I think I'm looking forward to the meta shifting next patch, like
Oh, I'm so
30.13.
keen.
You
Yeah,
keen on this
because
patch that we're currently in? I hate it, dude.
it's not the worst patch, I would say. It's not the worst patch, if only Kazante didn't existed.
Oh, true.
Kasante?
Yeah, I think-
Static
I think-
shield.
4,000 HP, 300 armor,
Yeah,
17
exactly, right?
dashes, 15 mana.
I think I got so annoyed by this pick because for the past 2 months ish, like we've just been Kazante ban, Kazante pick, Kazante ban, Kazante
Yeah.
pick. So that's why you see, yesterday we were like, guys, let's just pick Fiora into Kazante because we knew that this has been the counter matchup into Kazante. We've practiced it a few times, and it works well, right? So
Yeah, Fear's a
on
pretty
stage-
rare pick on pro.
well, it is because it's kind of it's a bit of a coin flip, right? Like the
Mm.
champion is a little feast of famine. Like you can really come online when you're 3 items ish, something like
Yeah.
that, right? So what happens in the first 25 minutes, right? If your team goes boom in the first 25 minutes, then you never come online. So it is a little bit of coin flip. I think OC also have a tendency to prioritize team fight over split pushing. So
Yeah.
Yeah, teamfight fun though. It makes the brain go ding.
yeah, and then you just go and then you just pick Scion on, Scion on, Scion on.
Yeah.
And then then you get all these like potato top laners.
And then Olaf just thrown into the mix.
Yeah, the Olaf, Olaf
Just-
happens, right? The
Yeah,
Olaf
just because they're
incident.
like, yeah, let's just throw some damage in there and just never die. You're like, all right, cool beans.
Yeah.
So I guess that comes down to like, so what sort of strategies and like approaches do you employ to keep the team like motivated and focused throughout the split? Like you said, you're having a bit of a not as good a split as last time, but how are you stepping up this split?
How is step? Well, I mean, in terms of focus, right? I think it's very important to just always reiterate, emphasize the goal because our goal has been very clear throughout this entire year because at the beginning, like before we even started scrim, I told the teams like, guys, our goal is to make PCS, so that automatically means top 2, right? We achieved that goal. Now coming to split 2, our goal, we got an upgrade in Arkia in support. So I told the boys, so guys, we've made PCS. Our goal is we have 2 goals now actually. One is to win LCO, and 2 is to do well in PCS. So a lot of the scrims, a lot of the performance is actually just based on like how well can we perform in PCS at this stage, right? So in scrims, even though sometimes we win, I would actually just scold the boys. I would be like, guys, like I know we win, but this was such a messy game that if we play something like this in PCS, we'll just get shit
Mm.
on.
You just get
Right? This is
clapped.
Yeah.
yeah, we just get clapped. I mean, it's the harsh reality, right? Like both Chiefs and us. I mean that's the team that I expect to make PCS by the end of the split. But
Mm.
Mm.
it's like, yeah, I mean we can be dominant in LCO, right, locally, but if we don't step up our gameplay, if we don't be dominant, just like straight up dominant, in LCO, we won't even stand a chance in PCS.
It's so
Yeah, I'm worried
interesting.
about PCS as well, dude. Sorry to cut you off, Pike.
Classic.
I'm worried about LCS. I'm worried about LCS and PCS because the last showing it really wasn't the greatest, and
Yeah, no.
I'm feeling, especially at the end of this year. I know there's more chances for us to get in, but man, I don't know. Just going on, what do you guys say? How do you think locally that even if it's not you guys, maybe Chiefs as well? Do you think we can like actually show up a little bit better? Was it a wake up call kind of thing?
I think I think if Chiefs and us go again, we'll do better. I'm not sure if other teams go, just because I think a lot of the players, like even ourselves included, because well, I'm currently in Hong Kong,
Mm.
so I kind of do a little bit of like amateur or like just private coaching with the players, like with upcoming players here in Southeast Asia, and that's where I got a lot of information on like the relative strength, right, between regions. And throughout the split one, I was telling my boys like, guys, like PCS is way stronger than LCO, and I
Mhm.
think the boys didn't really think about it that much, just because, oh guys, like we're LCO, and we historically has been doing okay. Like obviously ignore the whole Order 06 thing. That never happened. All right.
Yeah.
Until then,
Yep.
that never happened. But hey, like historically we've been doing fine. Like surely we'll be fine in PCS. Like at least we'll get a couple series down, right? But yeah, and then when we get to PCS, the moment we started scrimming, because like we weren't even scrimming, the actual top teams in PCS in LPL or like VCS and stuff. We were just scrimming like middle of the pack PCS,
Yeah,
VCS
Benvi was
teams,
telling us that.
LCL teams.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? And then we're getting shit on. Like frankly speaking, we're just getting shit on, and we're like, see guys, I told you, PCS is going to be way harder
Mm.
than you guys expected. And so I think it's a huge wake up call for both Chiefs and us. We're like, all right, so here's the deal. There is a bit of a gap. When we get to PCS, we'll just try to do the best we can, but don't have our hopes up.
Yeah.
So what are you guys doing, I guess, as a team then to sort of step up your gameplay? Like you're already at the top of LCO, you already know you're feeling good. How are you now trying to get into the same ballpark as PCS and even other regions like LEC and all that sort of stuff as well?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest reasons why we bring in Arkia at the beginning of the split, right?
Mm.
Because what Daystar showed us in split one is that they look at the game very differently
Mm.
to LCO players. There was a lot of things that I kind of learned overseas, just playing in Taiwan region, China, like server
Mm.
and stuff, but I can't really convey it to the players as well. Just mostly because I don't play the game. I'm not physically in the game, right? It's
Mm.
hard for
Yeah.
me to be like, even as a coach, right? Even as a coach that I've been coaching for what 6-7 years, it's hard. Like this is one of the biggest challenges because I'm watching spectate, so I'm watching both sides' perspective. So it's easy for me to say that, hey, you should have done this, should have done that, because the other team couldn't respond. But like inside the game, sometimes players just don't see it,
Yeah, you're
Mm.
thinking
right?
like completely differently.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
what do
So
you mean like they think different to the OC players, so to say?
so
Like mentally?
Um, mentally, I mean, yes, they're a lot strict. They're a lot more strict because in Korea, like, there's just so much competition, right? I think Daystar told me, like, if you're not picked up by an LCK team to be like a trainee sort of player, like trainee academy player, by 14 or 15-year-old, you're gone.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Whoa, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Like there's just like almost no chance for you to get into LCK. I think that's speaking from his role, like in mid lane, because mid lane is very
Yeah.
stacked in LCK. But even Arkia, I think Arkia, because I was asking Daystar, because Arkia and Daystar were friends,
Hmm.
So I was like, why didn't Arkia keep playing? Because Arkia was on Genji Academy
Yeah.
last year. So Daystar told me like Arkia was originally going to sign with Genji again, but then Genji just didn't renew his contract because they said that he's getting too old. And
Man,
Wow.
as a note, like I'm pretty sure Arkia is just 22, 23.
yo,
Maybe 22 actually. Yeah,
don't do that to me. I'm 27, and they're
I'm
just like
20.
this kid too old,
I'm 29.
bro.
I'm 29, man. But yeah, so apparently, like they're just getting too old. So like Arkia, they just dropped Arkia because he's too old. I guess it makes sense because by the time Arkia makes it to LCK, right, in a year or two, assuming he can,
Mm.
Hmm.
um, then he probably have like 1 or 2 years before he had to go to military service in Korea.
Oh right, I completely
Yeah.
forgot that.
Yes.
That's why they
So that's
probably
like the
yeah.
hard gate. Yeah. That's like what is limiting the players' age. You know, when they can get to LCK. So that's I mean I can understand Genji's decision in that, but hey, we got Arkia because of that.
Yeah, so that's
So
why they think
I'm
more
happy.
like strict in game because they want to make sure they're always doing the right thing.
Exactly right. They
Is
don't want
is
to waste
that
any
super
time.
healthy for the team?
Um, yes and no. I think
Hmm.
yes because that provides a lot of perspective, right? Like it's like, hey guys, like this is the margin of error
Hmm.
from Korea, right? Like if we want to improve ourselves, we should have this standard as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot in terms of making the players discipline. It's sometimes bad mentally because like honestly, Western players are just not used to this. Like
Mm.
the way we're currently running things, we're almost similar to like a military camp. We're just like, guys, this is shit. All right. We go into a game. We go into a game. We have a script. All right, we're playing we're making one play into this play into this play. Now you fuck up something. Sorry for swearing.
No,
You
swear as
mess
much
up
you want,
Don't
something.
man.
apologize.
Swear all you want.
Yeah, it's like we mess up something, and instantly we're just like, guys, the game is ruined.
GGFF.
GG. No, not FF. We don't actually FF. All right, we don't actually FF.
You're not allowed to,
Um,
right?
well, we're not allowed to on stage, but like teams do FF in scrims, but we rarely FF. So, usually when we have to FF, the teams would ask me first, and I was like yes or no, and then we'll ask the other team. But like sometimes, I would get teams that just all chat GG and they just leave the game. That's when it pisses the Koreans off most of the time.
Not FFing.
FFing.
Yeah.
Really? I thought
Fair
it'd be the
Yeah.
other
enough.
way.
No,
In
so
solo queue, they're like, oh, one mistake. Next.
yeah. I mean, in Korea, yeah, that is the case. But for them, I think their perspective is like, all right, so this is a scrim game. We
Mm.
drafted something. Most of the time, right? Like when things go horribly wrong, it's because maybe we're cooking up some level 1 shenanigans. Maybe we have like a secret counter pick, etc.
Yeah.
And so that just breaks open the game in the fight, like first 5, 10 minutes, right? And then teams
Mm.
wanted to FF. The Koreans
Oh,
get
that'd be
pissed
rude.
because
Yeah.
yeah, the Koreans get pissed because they were like, "Hey, we're trying things in scrims, and you're not letting us play out the entire game."
Mm.
Yeah.
So that gets them really pissed. Um, yeah, we actually had a few conflicts between like teams and stuff because of that. But yeah,
So are you guys
Oh,
scrimming like LCK like Korean teams at the moment? Like are you guys jumping
no, we're not.
servers?
We're not. I think the only area where you can scrim overseas is Perth.
Yeah.
Just because the ping is slightly lower. Even then, like with Perth, you can at most scrim on Singapore server, which is probably around 100 ping,
Yeah. No, that's
yeah,
what
it's
which is
pretty
horrible,
doomed.
PUBG
by the way.
does.
It's horrible. Yeah.
To bring it back, you said bringing in the new support helped
Oh yeah.
because his brain is different to how the
Mhm.
Aussies are. What are the differences there? Like you said, strict and more disciplined. What else?
Yeah, I mean they also see more like variations in game, like on how the game could be played. So like I could give them one scenario, say like Baron contest or something like that, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the OC player would just see that okay, we're either hitting Baron or we're hitting Baron so that we can just burst down the Baron and leave, or we're hitting Baron so that we can turn.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like they probably just see like the two plays, like the two most obvious plays, and then the Koreans probably just gonna bring up like, guys, like we don't even have to do this, right? Just deny vision. We can play for flanks. We could just do a lot of things. Like we bait them in. We could just reset. They wouldn't even know. We get a tempo reset from that. Like they see a lot more, just so many more variations on one play than the OC players. And this is like one of the major reasons why we wanted to bring in another import coming into split two,
Yeah.
because like Jim Young, I call him Jim Young, so it's Daystar. He already sees so many things, right? And then Arkia, bring in Arkia as well. He also offers more perspective because, um, as a support player, all you do is literally just watch the map, right? Like you
Yeah.
place
Yeah.
wards, look at the map, see what play you can make, and honestly, Arkia has been very helpful in terms of like identifying plays. He's also a little bit more mature than Daystar. Daystar's like 19, 20-year-old, if I remember
Mm.
correctly. So he's a little bit more mature. He brings a very um refined perspective of the game. So it's like, okay, like you can do this, but after doing this, you have to, compensate and do something else. Whereas like Data is more like you need to do this, this, and this, or the game will
Yeah.
destroy. Yeah.
He's got solo queue brain, dude.
Legit, yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
really interesting. Sorry to interrupt, Corvy. Do you
No,
think
man, that's good.
Daystar and sort of Akia sort of bring a bit more? Do they have a bit more control, I guess, over the other players? Like, why not and all that? Do they sort of take the charge a little bit more, or is it sort of a bit more shared? Who's like your shot caller, I guess?
In terms of shot caller, I think the ultimate like. Let me think. How should I word this?
What's the
It's
chain
like
of command?
the ultimate, yeah, like the ultimate goal is to have Raz. Like, why not to be the shot caller?
Yep.
But I think, I think Raz is a great player, but he sometimes like his understanding of the game is still a little bit lacking. Obviously, it's relative, right? Like it's relative to Koreans, it's a little bit lacking. In terms of OCE shot calling, he's probably one of the best players
Mm.
on the server. So and both Daystar and Arkia are not like the type of players that would like actively short call huge
Yeah.
amount. Like they see a lot of things, but they're more like follow the call, right? Like if Raz calls something, they will say yes, go, or no, don't go. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Arkia,
Okay.
if he needs to step up, he will step up as well. But I think like what Arkia wants is like he wants Raz to improve a lot more because Raz, being a jungler,
Mm.
having the jungler to be able to short call is just massive because
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's
it's a role that
focused
he
on the
plays early
map.
game. Yeah, exactly, right? So Arkia will step up. Like in game day, I think Arkia speaks a lot. Like I went through some of our previous like comms and stuff. Arkia speaks a lot, and he sees a lot of like different plays. Sometimes a player just shows up for like a 0.1 second. Just slightly touch the brim of the ward, and he'll be like, "Guys, someone's there. Just be
Yeah.
careful." But yeah, I think so ideally in an ideal world, it's Ras, like why not shot calling, and then Arkia and Daystar assisting with the shot call, with the calls, like sort of like making refinements, adjustments.
Yeah.
But at the moment we have basically like a dual shot call system with Arkia and Raz both calling for plays and stuff.
That's pretty good.
That's
Coming
awesome.
in, Akia, I really wanted to like talk to you about how'd you go with scouting for someone else on the team? If it wasn't for like OC or somewhere else, how did you go? Just finding someone, or did you have him in mind already?
Well, I think I do things differently, like between like local scouting and international scouting. So like
Yep.
international scouting for players who have already played in other region, then it's kind of easy to watch their VODs, DM their coaches and stuff. So like we've actually looked at other Korean players, we've actually looked at other PCS players and stuff, and most of the time I just go through the VODs. I find their solo queue account. I go through like their solo queue VODs as well, just to see how they play. Like how much information they can take in, etc. And then I would sort of DM the coach, like the previous coach. I would be like, "Hey, I'm the coach from Team Bliss. We're interested in this player. What are your thoughts on them, right?"
Yeah, like how is
Um,
it working with them and stuff? Are they
yeah,
coachable?
it's like are they coachable? Are they the tilter? Will they just randomly buy a ticket and just fly back to Korea? You don't know sometimes, right?
Mm.
And so that's a lot about the overseas scouting because like there's a very limited amount you can do because like you don't really have access to like local players, right? Like if even if a Korean
Yeah.
played in EU, right? I don't know any EU West or EU any players. I can't really DM them and be like, hey, do you know this guy? Right?
Yeah, true.
Is this guy
Yeah.
a tilter in solo queue? Like you just can't. So it's a lot based on just word of mouth, really. And for Desa and Arkia, they haven't really played competitive. Like they played in I think tier 2 or tier 3 competitions in Korea,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of hard to actually get an information on them. So we kind of relied a lot of information from their agents. So like
Okay.
providing us votes, providing like all the opinions, on who's better, who's worse. And I think Korea had a really like well built scouting system and like sort of like grading system as well. So they actually gave us a lot of information on like what Staysar's personality like, how well does he play, or like at what level he plays at compared to other regions, other players. And then in terms of local scouting, I think that's a lot
Yeah,
easier.
yeah. Local scouting is just like, yeah, he's trash. Don't pick him up.
Oh,
In
actually,
Korea, they have like a whole profile
It's
of
a full
everything.
tier list. They're gonna have mug shots on there and everything as well. They'd be like, "Oh no, he actually said this once, like 2-3 years ago. We've got the record of it." And O's, they're just like, "Nah, man,
Like, no,
he's
this
a
guy's
dog."
trash.
Just don't pick him up.
It's either this guy is trash, or two,
Intimates
this guy
like you.
this guy is not getting past behavior check.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the two, or most of the time. Nah, but for real though, I always bring up like the Nathan's examples of Puma.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so when I scouted him, this guy was he was like a master player, like 100, 200 LP-ish, something like that, if I remember correctly.
Love Puma.
Yeah, I love him. Like he's a nice guy, he's a great guy.
He played with me in amateur. He was on my team.
Oh really? Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I actually didn't. I actually don't know he played in amateur, to be honest. Like, I was on what Gravitas back then. I've
Mhm.
no clue. Like, was struggling to find a roster. And what I had to do is I literally just go down the solo queue ladder one by one and identify all the players. Like, all right, first 50, like all the challenger players, most of them are probably just not going to happen because firstly, like Gravitas didn't have the best reputation, and secondly, like the first 50 players are usually already pro players. Right.
You could have just
So
hired
then
Corvy though. He was already a part of Gravitas.
Bro, no shot. I was Diamond 4. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no. So what I had to do back then was I had to like just log onto the client, scroll down, and kind of just camp the client 24/7 and be like, oh my god, this guy's playing, and I just started spectating this guy.
Yeah, OC
Yeah, wow.
scouting 101.
Yeah, it is kind. I mean, I think other regions kind of do similar things, like the analysts, the scouting staff do similar things. I just have to camp like live games. I just spectate, see what's going on, because I think if it's not live game, you don't get to see all chat, so like you don't get to see people flame.
True. Wait, can you
Yeah.
see that if you just spectate a live game?
Yeah, I think you can. I think you can.
That's
You have to,
so good.
You have to have chat
Yeah.
turned on.
Yeah,
I'm just
you
gonna
have to-
add
you
so
have to
many
have all
people on
chats
ladder now.
on. Yeah. So I had to just camp. Like, I just camp all the players and see. Okay, they usually play the game. During these hours, I just log on during that hour. It took me an hour, like not an hour. It took me a month to like scout all the players. And ended up with Puma. I was like, this guy's like, okay, he's got a lot of fundamentals problem and stuff, but the guy actually played a decent. Like he can pilot the champion pretty decently.
Man, he's got hands.
Yeah, he's got hands.
Got hands.
Definitely, he's got hands.
Got hands.
I remember it was funny. It was funny because I was talking to my assistant coach back then, which is Omo. He's moved on to casting Wild Rift. I think he casted Wild Rift finals or something like
Oh,
World Championship
wow.
or something. But anyway, I was talking to Omo about that. I was like, hey, this guy actually looked decent. And then I was like, I sent him the game. I remember Omo told me, dude, this guy's playing Misfortune. Like what he meant was like, how can a Misfortune be mechanical? Like, I was like, the champion just press E and press R, and I was like, no, just look at his gameplay. Like his laning phase is actually doing fine and stuff. Like given he was like a master, maybe GM player back then, it's like he's actually playing decently. So we ended up signing him, and obviously like we all know, like he eventually won on order, right?
Yeah.
Won the LCO on order, went to international. Again, we don't speak of that international debut.
Yeah, what are you talking
yeah.
about?
What am I talking about? But yeah, so local scouting is a little bit more in depth compared to international scouting, and I think that's also something that like OC teams need to do a lot more about. Like,
Well, looking overseas?
no, looking at local players, because I genuinely think that like there are quite a few local players that still have the potential. They're just not getting scouted properly, or the other thing is like when they get into a team, a lot of times they're just kind of being neglected, right? Like obviously when you first get into LCO, like you're gonna suck.
Okay.
That's the truth.
On that note, then I want to bring up just a slight
Yeah.
point, a little bit of a divergent. Do you think OS needs an OCS level tier bracket
Oh,
for
for sure.
players
Oh
up and
shit,
coming?
yeah, dude.
Well, I know I've been sort of I'm in the MCOM one at the moment, Calvin, which is like basically like the best example of like challenger grandmaster players and stuff.
Mhm.
And every time I'm on, I'm just like, oh, so LCO, when are we doing this? Every time I'm casting,
Look,
every time without fault.
If you guys ever talk to Brandy and Edge, so the Bliss management, ask them like how many times I've asked them that is LCO making another new OCS tournament. Like probably once every month, I would just DM them like, guys, is this happening? Is this happening? Please make this happen.
Yeah, why not though?
Like, I can tell you why. I can tell you why, because I know the answer, and I can tell you why we might be getting it, but we probably won't be. Again, I didn't want to take us down this road because I'll die on this hill. Like, the reason they got rid of it is because we didn't have the biggest pool of players, right?
Yep.
So at the end, they said, OS doesn't have enough talent. We can't justify having it. So ESL got rid of it. And now that LCO has taken off and is actually starting to improve as a region, we're actually starting to get talent in. They just didn't sign the contract initially for the big, like 2-3 year contract that they had to have it. So next year, their contract is up, which means ESL could either renew or update their contract, which we're hoping means OCS could become a thing. The same time, if we get orgs or at least teams that are currently in the LCO, there is literally nothing stopping them from running their own. So training grounds, all that sort of stuff, you technically have the rights to do that. There's nothing about gatekeeping those players. It's organizing it. So it's like, there you go. That's my 2 cents.
No, I mean, I appreciate like Chiefs doing the scouting ground things at the beginning of the year, right? I think that was very helpful. You know, that they kind of gave a lot of players a glimmer of hope. You know,
That's good fun.
You
Yeah.
know, this, you know, we might actually finally have a pathway to professional again in Oceania. Because again, like, I agree with the LCO that we probably won't have the talent pool for like a 10-team, 12-team format like we used to have. But you know, maybe it's just a tiny tournament, like 6-team, 8-team, like that. Yeah, I mean that's completely viable, right?
Yeah.
And I think that would let us scout a lot more players. That would ease up a lot of like our time to scout players at like in the off season.
That's
Yeah, it's literally just gives players a platform to show off like what they've got. Instead of having to go to the top 50 players on the ladder and watch all their solo queue games.
Legit, man.
That's literally what happened to Chep, though, if I can put that in. Like, Chep only just got picked up for Vertex. He's been at, like, the top tier of all amateur tournaments for the last year and a half plus.
Yeah, no.
And now he's in a top team. He's like, yeah, it works.
It's just a little bit of tidbit, I think, because I watched the episode, I know that. We helped Vertex a little bit with their roster because we know, like, you know, how short of a time frame they have just to get everything together, right? So we just offered some help. And yeah, I mean, we told them, it's like, hey, if you don't know who to pick up in mid lane, try Chirp.
Yeah.
Because this guy, like, he has been at the top of the amateur tournaments for quite a while. And I think the guy probably deserves a chance to get into
for sure.
OPL. Or not OPL. Why did I say OPL? To LCO. Yeah, I mean, telling
What do you
guys
think
I'm
of
not
Vertex?
an old man. What I think of Vertex, I think they actually have a decent roster. I think their current standing doesn't reflect the ceiling of this team.
Yeah.
That's how I would say.
Yep.
I think they definitely deserve a little bit more win. A few more wins maybe here and there. But I think they're
Where would you place them? Power ranking.
Oh, I actually did that in in my only co-stream this split so far. I placed them 6th. So my power ranking is obviously Bliss first.
Yep.
Yeah,
highest.
of course.
Yeah,
oh,
Bliss up,
what?
Bliss up,
No
Bliss
shot.
up.
Wow, that's crazy.
Bliss up. Holy shit. Chief second.
Yep.
My third is I'm not sure what I ranked in the co-stream, in my co-stream, but now, like, with more information, I think the third place should be Mammoth.
I was just thinking that. Yep,
Yep.
I was thinking that.
Mammoth, Pentanet, Dire Wolves.
Yep.
And then Vertex.
GZ.
I'm missing one team. Yes, Vertex, GZ, Kanga.
Oh man. So you started at the same time as GZ. What do you think? How they going? What do you think of them?
They going?
Yeah.
I feel like GZ again. Every single split, I think they have the potential to reach a little higher, but I feel like they don't have much direction. Like, I might be very blunt here, and
where we want that.
I'm kind of baiting. That's all. I'm baiting these questions.
This guy, man, this guy's baiting me so much. Hey, but
I mean, you came first. They didn't. What up?
I look. I've flamed so many people in my co-stream for the past 2 years. like last year and this year.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, I don't care. Well, I care, but I don't care. So like, I mean, hey, last year when I didn't have a team in Split One, I just co-streamed every single like week of LCO, and I just started shooting on everyone. But that actually that actually got like quite a few like pro players and like coaches and staff tune in. Especially I remember like the entire Kanga roster in Split One, not an entire actually, like half the Kanga roster actually tune into my Twitch stream after their games just to see me like just to see my opinion on stuff. It was actually hilarious. It was funny.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I've been shitting on people for like the past 2 years. I don't know why, but hey,
You've
happiness,
earned the right. You've earned the right.
Dude, no,
like,
it's how you became a coach. It's in
yeah,
your blood.
yeah.
It's true, that's
Blaming
true.
people's in your blood.
Yeah. But like the way I look at GZ is that I feel like they haven't find their identity just yet. Like they're a little bit lost at the moment. I feel like they try different style like week by week, and they never really settled on how they wanted to play the game. And
Yeah.
originally, I actually rated GZ a little higher, like before we even scrimmed Split 2. At first, I thought GZ is gonna like make playoffs. Well, now what I mean by that is being top 5, because I didn't know the format at first. So I was like, GZ should be able to make playoffs coming this split, because they didn't make any roster change, or like barely made any roster change, because honestly, Dante and Hooper or Aiko, they're pretty much the same players. Like the way they play the game is very similar. So like I would expect GZ to play a lot better. But then we started scrimming, I started seeing the stage games, I was like, all right, so split 2 GZ is equal to split 1 GZ, which is equals to no identity GZ. So I think that's the biggest problem at the moment. And hey,
What do you rate Hooper's name? New name. I like Hooper a lot, man.
look,
I got information on that.
I am a big fan of Pokemon. I know his name is not related in any way or form to like Hooper the Pokemon, but he name changed. So no.
Yeah.
I think Hooper's better.
He changed his name because there was already another like pro player or something out there in another region named Hooper. And
really?
And he technically, I think it was something along that line, or a streamer or something like that. And he took that name initially because he's just like, I just like the guy, so I'm gonna take his name for a bit.
Oh,
so he's gone in. He literally said it on the LCO tonight. Did you guys not watch the pre-show?
No, I didn't.
Okay, that's fine. He was being interviewed again. They stole fucking LCO bingo from me. I'm pissed. I'm just gonna take it. So he changed to Echo, which means something like it's Japanese for like at peace or some bullshit. I'm just like, nah, man, you level 1 everyone every fucking time. Don't say you're at peace. Shut up, man. You literally coin flip level 1. Don't talk to me.
No,
it's like
maybe,
something
maybe
like that.
Maybe what he meant was he's gonna fight level 1 and he's gonna die in peace. Or his opponent's gonna die in peace.
Yeah, either or. I think he's still a good player. Again, I was casting his games, but he was in the amateur sort of stuff too, and I was just like, he's got so much potential. But again, I won't talk too much about that because I want to talk to you more. But yeah, so I think name change, fair enough. Just don't steal people's names. Be original.
Steal people's names.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey, Calvin, sorry, man. You go.
I think like some of the players had to like add numbers behind the name because their name's stolen, right? Blue had to
Hooper 1.
Hooper 1. It was one blue. It was one blue from Kanga.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because blue is already taken. I mean, not surprised. It's such a common name, right?
Yeah.
And
My boy Blue.
I suspect Rosie, like name changing to Rosie 5, might also be because Rosie's taken.
Well, he was initially Rosie. Like he's been Rosie since the fucking dawn of time.
But then he went inactive, right? So his name's up for grabs.
That's true.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have. Gave up. Went to WoW.
Man.
Big Sag.
Yeah.
So okay, I guess we sort of touched on it a little bit. I guess I want to talk about what team do you think has the best potential this split? Like you sort of dove a bit, but also what team has the most potential but is also shitting the bed? I think you said Vertex.
Oh, well, I mean, I think Vertex deserve a lot higher, but then in terms of a lot higher, I would say like 5th maybe. I mean, that's a lot, compared to where they are right now. But like, I think the team that's actually like really underperforming, actually, up until this week, is Pentanet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
this week they did seem good, but I kind of agree.
The big Chiefs.
I think like this is where they should be. Like taking games off Chiefs, taking games off us, etc. I think this is where Pentanet should have been. Not sure what their internals like. I'm not exactly sure, like, how they function and stuff. But I genuinely think that them as a team should be
Mm.
way better than where they're currently sitting, like fifth place or something.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like they really should be like top three, amongst us and
Yeah, well, I have them power ranked at 3.
yeah,
Mm.
but that's also because I have like scrim information and just watching stage games and stuff. So
Ooh.
Mm.
yeah,
You gonna start sending that to us?
Yeah, be our
I'm not
inside
leaking
informant.
anything, right? I'm not leaking anything.
Damn it.
Calvin's a leaky boat. Give us some screw info.
I have leaked too many things. I'm not leaking anymore.
Yeah.
Are you talking about like yelling at people on Twitter for just not being on like
legit.
canceling scrims and stuff?
Legit. I mean,
Who was that?
that was annoying. That was. I mean,
Oh,
hey,
that
if
was
you
funny.
if you dig deeper under that thread, you would know who.
Yeah, we know who it is. I just want you to say it on broadcast.
No.
I promise. Okay, how's this, Calvin? How's this? I promise I'll bleep it out.
Yeah.
No, you just
Yep.
won't. You just won't put it out.
This is exactly what. Who did I do this to? I did this to the Vertex. He's no longer with them. Who was it?
Charisma?
Charisma. Yeah, I did it to Charisma. I was like, "Oh, Charisma, just tell us your thing. I won't upload it early."
Yeah,
and I winked,
remember
and I
that,
winked
yeah.
at the camera, and then I literally just did it to you. Then being like, "Oh, just tell us," and I winked at the camera again. So I think that's my tell. But no, I honored my word there.
Yeah. So I mean, that team. It's the second time they did that to me. That's why I was so pissed.
Yeah,
Oh,
fair
man.
enough.
Yeah.
Who's your main rival in the LCO? Do you guys think?
Cheese. It's always
Yeah?
cheese. Yeah. It's on and off the rift, to be honest. Off
Well, I
the
mean, you're
rift,
doing the
Off the
Westfield thing
Rift.
with them.
my staff is, my management is, not us. Okay.
Oh,
My
you're not?
management is. I'm not.
Yeah, but you're
No.
like best friends now.
Yeah, you're all best
Yeah,
You
we're
friends.
do the
best
Westfield thing
friends now.
together.
they are best friends, all right? They are best friends. I'm not sure about my players and their players, right? But no.
Oh, true,
no.
actually.
Yeah, actually, that would
we
be.
had some beef. We had some beef, all right, on Twitter.
Actually, I
Yeah.
saw that beef. Some good beef. Like, there's a lot of banter coming
Oh,
out of some
God.
players. I know Why
Yeah.
Not loves a good chatter.
Yep,
Aladoric loves a good
Yeah.
little fight back.
Last split with Benvi as well.
Yeah.
So no, I think I mean, it's nothing too serious in my opinion.
Oh, it's
we
good.
just bantered
It's
a little
healthy.
bit, yeah. But yeah, I
Can we
mean,
make it
Chiefs
worse?
and us, we're like so similar yet so different, right? Like both top 2 teams, we're both Brisbane based, and
Good.
our management are friends with each other. So like, there's like a lot of things in common that we have, but then we're just rivals,
Yeah.
right? We also scrim each other the most. Like
Yeah.
last split, I think Chiefs scrim like, I don't know, like 3 times more than the second team that we scrimmed the most. So yeah, we have like insane amount of scrims played against Chiefs, and yeah, I mean, yeah, just rivals.
Good.
I like it.
I like rivals.
Yeah.
You
can
couldn't
say,
have picked you couldn't pick a tier 2 team or like someone lower on the bracket, could you?
I mean, it's also just because we just play them so much. Like,
Yeah, true. I know. But
natural,
it's just like
natural instinct is just like, who's your rival? Chiefs. I look at my schedule, it's like Chiefs, and like, at one point, I had to tell my manager, I was like, hey, look, I appreciate us booking Chiefs scrims, but stop scrimming with them every single day because
oh right,
it's
and you
not
played
helpful.
them too for like 6
Yes.
months straight.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Right? Like, I'd wake up and I'm like, oh, guys, it's another Chiefs scrim. And then I go to bed, guys, remember, tomorrow we have another Chiefs scrims. Hell yeah. But, I mean, it's good scrims. Like, it's good learning, but at the same time, like, it gets boring, you know?
I think the hard part about
True.
that is if you're versing, and I know you probably are scrimming other teams, but like versing the same
Yep.
team over and over and over again, you're not learning anything new about the other teams. You're just learning about that
Yeah.
one team.
I mean,
Like,
the funny thing is, right, if you look at LCO, like, how teams draft and stuff, you can kind of, like, see how, like, which team has been scrimming which teams, because Cheese and us draft so similarly.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the Maokai priority, we have like the Gragas counter, Durrell, and a lot more that I won't say. But these are just what's been revealed. And then
Can we
there's
have
also
one
other
more?
things-
Actually, this is just for my own knowledge because I want to start taking this
Okay.
in. One more. Even a shitty one.
Oh no.
Or
One
3
more?
good ones. Well, let's go with 3 good
Um,
ones.
Not really. I mean, Pentanet first picking Rel kind of saying something because I know
Yeah.
I know another team that also does that. I'm not gonna say it because their team hasn't done it on stage just yet.
Okay.
But yeah.
Oh, that's
I
all
mean,
I
I
want.
suspect that.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's small. I'll take
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
But like, there's like a lot of like little things that sort of hint that okay, this team has been scrimming some other team. But yeah, I mean, it's just so obvious that Chiefs and us kind of we're just so similar. Yeah.
Is that
Well-
bad though? Moving into like PCS. So you guys are. I'm just gonna. Well, just from the hypothetical, which is very much true. You guys are going to PCS. You're both playing so identical. What is going to make you different to Chiefs in a PCS stage?
I actually think that we don't play similarly. Like a game understanding is similar, a draft kind of similar, but when we get into the game, we play very, very differently. I think Chiefs they punish mistakes a lot more than we do, whereas we're a lot more about playing the correct macro, choking people off, making them suffocate, denying resources and stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's also one of the reasons why we have that freaking 30-minute game against Vertex when we're already 15k gold up, right? Like,
Yeah, just close it
come
out
on,
already.
guys! Like, guys, you guys, yeah, like, I'm pretty sure someone from my team is gonna watch this podcast. Like, please, just end the game faster. Like,
Pretty sure I was
please.
screaming that at the TV too. I was watching that be just like, why the
Everyone
fuck have
was-
they not
everyone
ended?
was. I was in the staff chat in Team Bliss with like 4 or 5 staff members, and I was literally saying, guys, what are we doing? Like, we're literally gonna get fined, all right? If we don't finish the game in the next 5 minutes, we're gonna get fined.
You get fined for having long games?
No.
Is that just a meme
it's
in
a
house?
reference. No, it's a reference to the Chiefs Mammoth thing.
Oh, right.
Where Chiefs refused to end the game against Mammoth, right? Like, I was like, guys, if we don't end the game, we're gonna get fined. Please, just
This
end
is
the game.
hostage.
Yes.
That's actually, if I can sort of take the conversation to a different thing, do you think there's a bit more attitude than you'd maybe notice there to other regions? I feel like OS, we're starting to build an identity properly as a region now that we're sort of forming a strong basis. Do you think there's a bit more attitude? Like, not closing out a game, the Chiefs to Mammoth, that felt like a bit of a gut punch, right? Like, you could sort of feel it, and you're sort of like, do you think there's a little bit more of that coming out? Is this a bit more of a competitive edge we can expect to see more of?
Not really, to be honest. I think OC is still in like very, very basic, like very early stage of identity development. I think we have our identity within the region. Like, overall, everyone kind of prefers team fighting front to back, 5v5, all the brawling and stuff, chaotic gameplay. But I think that's just like the basic. Like, I think we as a region need to expand further into that. For example, like if we do decide, as a region that this is our identity, we need to like sort of understand how we can win games when the other team isn't playing that identity, right? Like, for example, LEC, they have a lot of random picks, right? Like, they innovated. I mean, back in the days, they innovated like Pike top lane, Pike mid lane, and now they have like they also like the team that picks Irelia, like Lighter. They have Adam that picks Darius top lane, right? And I think their region is really good at making really unexpected plays. I mean, they invented that freaking Scion red side that kind of made OC's script so goddamn chaotic. Yes, like a lot of teams have been trying that with a varied amount of success, because it's such a weird play. Like, LEC always creates these like random plays. I mean, even lane swap back in 2018. It's also from the LEC, right? Or EU LCS back then. But they're just so good at it. Like, they would bring up that strategy on stage with probably like a couple games of practice, and then they're just gonna pull it off, and then teams started actually playing into it. Because like in OC, right, in other regions, they would be like, oh, red side side's the thing. Let's just ban that champion and just deal with it once and for all. In LEC, they're just like, bring it on, man. Like, if you're going to do that, we're gonna we're gonna find a counter.
We're gonna do this.
Yeah, exactly, right. And I think OC needs to do something like that too. Like, not really innovating new picks and stuff. Like, I don't really care about that. Like, if you want to, go for it. I tell my boys as well. Like, if you want to try new picks, go for it. That's why we have like the Rengar pick. That's why I have I'm trying to think what picks we have we've played on stage. Like, we have the Fiora pick, etc. Gragas support and stuff. I'm all for innovating picks, but I'm also like all for the region developing their identity like further, right? Like if you're going 5v5, try a new angle. Like how do we play this 5v5 better? You know, how do we deal with teams that flanks? How do we deal with teams that split push? But yeah, I think right now OC we just need to develop our identity further, and we're still in like the infancy period.
Yeah, good.
Good question, Pike.
Awesome. Hey,
Yeah,
I'm not just a good-looking
Oh, what a
face.
good guy.
you actually did something. That's probably what he's thinking.
More of a serious question.
all I can see,
What?
all I can see is Corvy's face, right? When he says "good job, Pike," it's just like, yeah, you're finally useful for once. That's what I'm
no
looking.
shot.
Okay, I'm putting words in his mouth. I'm putting words in his mouth. But you look at his face. You look at him. It's like, good job, good job.
Bitch, this
Well,
interview is
being
over.
I was being nice.
Oh no, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Damn, the shade. Oh,
Let's
Okay.
bring a more serious question now. Do you have a coaching role model, someone you looked up to?
Ooh. Coma? T1
Who?
SKT? Coma.
Oh right,
Yeah.
Koma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Korean is like Coma or something. I don't know. I don't speak Korean, right? I don't know. But Coma in English, more like the English way of speaking, telling his name, saying his name. I think he has been my like role model for years. I mean, my team would know I'm a huge T1 fan.
Mm.
I'm a huge Faker fan. I'm a huge Coma fan. Like
I'm a big Faker fan
you can
too.
say I'm a generic person or whatever. But hey, I've watched esports since season 2, right? Like when
Yeah.
Faker and Coma came in season 3, I was like, holy shit, this team is insane.
Bro, it's 10 years ago.
Yeah, it is 10 years ago, right? It is 10 years ago. Like, holy shit. But yeah, I mean, I always try to like do a lot of research on how Korean coaches do their coaching, how do they improve and stuff. Their system actually changed a lot over the years, even like Southeast Asia, China, like they're all like quite heavily influenced by the early LCK coaching. Just like how all the standards and stuff. And I think at one point like OC have a pretty strict standard, but then until the all like the NA imports thing happened,
Mm.
right? All the veterans kind of just left, right? And now we're kind of just rebuilding the region at the moment and reestablishing all the discipline, reestablishing all the standards. But yeah, Coma, he's my role model.
Yeah, nice.
Oh.
Now we do probably need to end it up fairly soon. Now I'm gonna finish off, Kevin, unless Corvy, do you have any more questions you'd like to ask?
I have a million questions too, but we can wrap it whenever.
That's true. Okay, so my final question, and I like to throw
Yeah.
random questions at people. So I'm just trying to look it up. Who is the current coach of Chiefs? Is it Babib? Is he back to coaching?
It's Babib and Jalal. I think Jalal is the main coach.
Okay, who's your assistant coach?
My assistant coach?
Mm.
My assistant coach is Bloodline.
Okay. If you
And-
two had to verse the Chiefs coaches in a fist fight, who do you think would win? This has been starting beef on Twitter now. Like, I want you to be like
My
brutally
dad
honest.
can beat up your
Yeah,
dad.
that's exactly what I want him to be. Who do you think's gonna win?
Pike is just copying the LCO yesterday, That was a question. That was the
Was it?
question yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, well, then I'll
They were
change up my
asking
question. I
junglers.
didn't realize. I was
They
genuinely
were
just like,
asking the
oh,
junglers, like, who would you fist fight in the same role?
oh.
And Raz picked Gooby because he says that's he's the only person that he might stand a chance. That's what he said. I remember. Maybe it's true, but hey.
So, okay, do you think you could beat them or not?
Do I?
The 2v2.
2v2.
It's not the
Well-
2v2v2v2 map coming out yet, but it's
That map is exciting, but I don't think so. Actually,
Don't
I don't think.
even.
I think they. I mean, Bubby is hella tall, no?
I've met
I don't
Babbitt.
know,
I've
dude.
met Babbitt.
I think-
He's not that tall.
He's not really.
He's not that
I mean,
tall.
he seems super tall.
To be fair, me and Corby are both very tall. So a lot of people are very short to us.
Well, I'm not that tall, alright? I'm just 176 cm.
I'm 185. That's not
I'm
bad.
pretty sure, yeah. Well, I'm definitely losing to you then in the fist fight, but no, I think
195.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll be like, I'm trying to hit you, and
Corby's just gonna be that guy and put his hand on like your head, and you're gonna be just like
Yeah.
flailing your arms, and Corby's like, "What are you doing, boy?"
Yeah, well, exactly. No, I think we like Bloodline and I am more of like a just prefer staying at home, just chilling type of guy than
Not
actually fist fighting. So
Not even rocking up to the fight.
not even rocking up. We're just gonna sit there, maybe set up a camera. Like hey guys, like let's fist fight. Somewhere. And then we're just gonna like set up a camera 2 hours in advance, just go back home, and we just look at the camera. He's like, ha, this guy, he actually turned up, ha, something like that.
The mental warfare.
Mental warfare.
Yeah,
I
cool.
have
That's
one
all
last
from me.
question. One last question. And quickly answer it. What advice would you give to someone who's brand new to coaching and wants to step it up, wants to get into it?
All right. You have to do. I actually get asked this question so many times, like
It's a good
throughout
one.
the year and stuff. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. I think firstly, don't start off looking for like head coach or anything. That's like the biggest mistake that you can make because, I mean, when I started coaching right in OCE, when I first stepped to as head coach, honestly,
I asked for him to say quickly, and he's
Sorry,
like, when
I have no
OCE
clue.
began.
sorry, but like, no, I had no clue. I genuinely had no clue what I'm doing. So like, my advice is just gonna be find a coach that's willing to take you in as an assistant, and just try learn from them. Like, learn how they coach, like the methods they use, how they analyze games, how they analyze the meta, and start talking to players. How do they understand the game? The more perspective you get from coaches and players, it will make you a better coach.
Good one, Calvin.
Beautiful. Almost as if he's been asked that question a billion times.
5 billion times. Not even a billion. 5 billion times.
Dude, it's the classic. You have to hit him with it.
It is the classic.
Well, it does wrap it up for us. Calvin, thank you so much for coming onto the Two Summoners podcast, man. It's been an absolute pleasure, even though you literally tore my heart out, just ripping into me. I was like, fuck, man. Who comes onto someone's show and it's just like, you know what? I'm gonna just fucking insult the host. Like, let's just, just make him feel.
I'm just gonna create conflict, create chaos.
You know what?
Wait for DreamHack, buddy.
Yeah, man, that fist fight, that was a subtle question about you and me in the parking lot.
Yep. Exactly.
Thanks, Calvin. I enjoyed having you on, man.
Yeah,
You were nice to me.
You know what? You were still nice to me, minus that 5 minutes.
Still, just cut that 5 minute, alright? I promise you, cut.
Nah,
that
man,
5
these
minute.
go up raw as shit. People are just gonna watch it. Anyone on YouTube's just gonna see my face, just be like, "Fuck, man, I've been burnt
What the
so
hell is that?
hard."
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I might have red hair, but
Right.
damn, that scorched my skin. That's it. All right. Well, thank you so much, man. I'll let Corvy wrap it up.
All right, thanks everyone for joining. Thanks, Calvin, again, and yeah, we'll see you all next week.
See ya.
That was great. That was easy.
See ya.